All those who worship and devote themselves to the Blessed Buddha, every single one of them. If you reflect on and examine the Buddha's final instructions with your own knowledge and reasoning and find they're not correct, then you don't have to follow them. You only need to follow it if it is truly right. The Blessed One himself, when it came to final judgments and guidance, always delivered his teachings and admonitions in complete accordance with the truth. The truth means speaking only about things that can actually be carried out in the real world, in line with the natural order. It is not about taking impossible things, dressing them up to look real, and then talking about them. Nor is it about falsely claiming that something impossible is true. Because when actually done, it is something that really can happen. The Buddha was simply speaking from his own wisdom about something that is truly happening in the world right now. The Buddha himself, through his own direct knowledge, practiced, realized it, and then proclaimed it. The phrase he kept repeating over and over was Saya Obi. Only after truly understanding it yourself and then personally putting it into practice and living by it did the Buddha share and teach it to human beings. That is what it means. Yes, the Blessed One would only give final instructions about truths he had personally practiced in real life and seen the results of for himself. He never taught any truth that couldn't be applied in real life. Whether you practice it or not, if it doesn't turn out the way it is taught, the Buddha wouldn't teach that kind of truth. So because it is a truth you've personally understood, practiced, and experienced the benefits of, it serves as a guarantee of its correctness. So when you say a certain teaching is explained correctly, does that mean it is something you can personally know and verify? Direct knowledge here means it is a truth. You can come to know yourself. Some teachings are indeed true, but there are also teachings you have no chance to know for yourself. Even if someone's reasoning and beliefs are completely sound, if the people who follow and practice them don't have the chance to know for themselves, it is nothing to be satisfied about. The Blessed One's final teaching was this: through direct experience, you yourself can come to know it. So then, if someone asks how long it takes to know a truth for yourself, ekali means if you do it right now, you'll know it right now. It also explains that this is a kind of truth you can know right away if you follow it right away. In that way, you also have the chance to know for yourself, and for the person who follows it without any delay, according to a certain measure of practice, it brings about results. So with this conclusion, you could invite your friends and say, Ihe Pasiko, come and see for yourself. Try it out in practice. It is something worth inviting them to do. Even though you are inviting them, since there is no mistake in it, it is the kind of conclusion or advice you can confidently and boldly extend the invitation with. That is basically what it means, right? When the Blessed One's teachings truly reach your heart, no matter who you are, even a heart burning with pain will find peace. They also help clear up those tangled, confused states of mind. Even situations in this world that are stuck in darkness end up finding light. Because situations like that can arise, Opanayako is a truth meant to touch everyone's heart, reaching deep into each person's mind. For example, if medicine or food that promotes good health actually reaches the body, it can help improve health and ease or cure illness and suffering, just like that. If it reaches into people's hearts, then minds weighed down with worry and sorrow will find peace. A troubled mind will instantly find peace, and a confused mind will become clear. Even thoughts stuck in darkness can find themselves in a place where they can be understood in the light. That is why Opanayako says you should bring the Dhamma into your own heart. This is the kind of assurance that has been given. However, the higher teachings of the Buddha aren't something ordinary people can easily attain. A person who truly puts it into practice needs to have sufficient knowledge and wisdom. This isn't the Buddha's teaching. In worldly matters, whether it is business knowledge or other kinds of knowledge, what we learn depends on the learner's abilities. And that is what leads to understanding and excellence. You can't just say everyone is capable. No matter the field of knowledge, not everyone will become skilled and proficient at it. People can only achieve what matches their abilities, whether it is business knowledge, health knowledge, or social knowledge, whatever the field may be. Since people's abilities differ, only those with strong abilities can understand the more advanced things. Material possessions should be shared with the wise. Winyu means people who are naturally intelligent and have a high IQ. They can think things through and are sharp-minded. People with more abilities than others are called Winyu. They know more than others. Y means something exceptional, and NYU means knowing. Winyu. People with sharper intelligence who know more than others can personally experience and understand certain truths through their own insight. Oh, when you really think about the Buddha's final message, it is not something you could even call a religious mission. If you ask what kind of education this is, without labeling it otherwise, it is the knowledge of life, giving guidance and advice on how to live and behave so that in this life and in future lives, one can grow and progress. It is a kind of knowledge that helps you reduce sorrow as much as possible, cut down on complications, and travel through life with a calm and peaceful heart. That is what you could call it. So that is why material possessions should be shared with the wise. Not everyone can know this, but someone exceptionally knowledgeable with a high IQ can fully grasp the essence of the Buddha's teachings. That is the final takeaway. That conclusion is purely a matter of knowledge. It is not about faith or belief. You need to have knowledge. So if your understanding is still weak, in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the Blessed One taught that mindfulness and clear comprehension should be practiced. Training means you have to develop your mindfulness. Along with mindfulness, you also need to train your discernment and clear understanding. When you practice this mindfulness, this concentration helps increase your awareness. Let's say people doing business know this. They keep the books in business. When goods are sold, things like income, expenses, and investment capital can be recorded and tracked accurately by someone skilled in bookkeeping. Working with that kind of attention can make their business grow. If you don't know whether money is coming in or going out or how much you've invested or earned, then growing your business just isn't possible. So being mindful in matters of truth can give rise to wisdom. And when it comes to matters of Dhamma and life, you need to have that same kind of mindful and clear, thoughtful consideration. Just like in business where you review and analyze expenses and income, by checking the financial statements. We also need to reflect on and analyze the natural truths unfolding within ourselves in the same way, to think them through and understand them. That is basically what it is saying, right? By thinking and analyzing like that, you can come up with answers about the world. Normally, we can't know. Normally, we just can't know. So for those who follow and practice the Blessed One's final instructions, they need to train themselves to be aware and have clear comprehension of themselves. When you practice, just like doing physical exercise for your health, you also do mental exercises. That is what is called putting effort into meditation practice. In that section of the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, in the part about mindfulness and clear comprehension, the Blessed One gave 7 points to be practiced. Once you become mindful, reflection and discernment naturally follow, just as an example. Starting from walking, coming, standing, sitting, don't let it turn into mindless walking or mindless looking. Let's say someone is about to take a step forward. Stepping forward mindfully means you need to know what is right in front of you. You've got to stay alert. You need to be alert to whether there is a boat, a pit, or some kind of obstacle in the way. When you become aware like that, you also need the wisdom to decide whether or not you should take that next step forward. If that is not there, and your awareness has slipped away, and you have no judgment either, then trouble can happen. So things like slipping and falling in the bathroom, getting into an accident somewhere, or slipping off a boat, these tend to happen when you lose awareness and along with it lose mindful judgment. Starting from small everyday things, the Blessed One said we should cultivate and practice mindfulness and clear comprehension, being thoughtful and aware like that. In that context, mindfulness means keeping your mind linked with your actions at all times, so that what you do with your mind and with your body doesn't end up going in different directions. For example, if you are sitting, you should know that you are sitting. That is mindfulness. If you are lying down, you should be aware that you are lying down. When you are walking, you should be aware that you are walking. This is simply living with unbroken mindfulness. To live with constant mindfulness and awareness. All right, if you are going to take a step forward, you need to do it with careful consideration. If I take a step forward, what will be there? Could taking that step cause me to make some kind of mistake? Let's say, could there be a rock or could there be a thorn and so on? That is what it means to act with careful thought. From there, you need to start practicing. If you step back, don't do it mindlessly. Do it with awareness and stay mindful. Think it through with understanding. Starting from raising your hands and spreading your feet, do it mindfully and with full awareness. From the moment you start getting dressed or even just looking with your eyes, do it with mindfulness and clear awareness. From the moment you pick up a pot or cup, you should do it with mindfulness and clear awareness. And finally, when you eat or drink, you should have mindfulness and clear awareness right from the start. With that mindfulness and clear awareness, I'm going to live like this from now on. In the end, if even going to the bathroom begins with mindfulness and clear awareness, then a person can avoid situations where mistakes happen and suffering could arise. That is what it means. So if you look at the Buddha's final teachings, they're very practical for everyday life. If it is just advice on how to live well, then you've got to actually practice it yourself. Just like people who exercise see their health and well-being improve, those who follow and practice the Buddha's teachings will also see their mental strength grow. That is as certain as the ground beneath our feet. So the Buddha's teachings aren't about just praying, asking for blessings and worshiping, then feeling satisfied with the thought of it. They're about actually putting in the work yourself. That is the kind of principle they are. People's desires can shape their lives. The Blessed Buddha always taught that once you have attained a life, the quality of your mindset is extremely important. And he never stopped emphasizing that truth. In the human world, to succeed and grow, having the right mindset is incredibly important. The desire to grow and succeed, and the determination to work hard in line with that desire. And if you are putting in the effort, then when challenges come your way, you've got to have a strong, unshakable mindset. In the end, you've got the desire, you've put in the effort, you've got the determination. But what really matters is that the know-how, the understanding of the right methods is what will take charge. Technology is something you can't succeed in business without. Whatever you do, you've got to do it with knowledge. So the Buddha's final teachings are really about putting in the effort to gain that knowledge and skill. Actually, it is not the kind of religion where you just pray and ask for blessings, but rather one where you learn in a practical way, follow through, and put it into action, the kind of teachings and guidance you live by. In this world, when people start talking about religion, some might think that religion isn't really useful in everyday life. The ultimate teaching of the Buddha is about sustaining life and gaining true wisdom in life. In life, having courage, being able to calmly and peacefully deal with life's problems, and finding freedom from worries and suffering. Those are the things that truly matter. If you truly understand and grasp it and then put it into practice, you'll be able to overcome life's challenges. Life isn't easy since everyone struggles through their daily lives. There are plenty of challenges. Economic challenges, political challenges, and educational challenges. Life is all about struggling through them. When people are struggling and striving just to survive in life, if you don't have the right methods and the right effort, you won't be able to solve life's problems, nor will you be able to overcome life's hardships. In that way, to be able to solve life's problems and overcome life's difficulties, the Buddha's teachings will be of great help. It is like shining a light on a dark path in life, easing the pain and turmoil in the heart and bringing peace like pulling someone lost in darkness into the light, so that in their own life things become clear and they understand what they need to do. Yes, gaining wisdom is what really matters. Holding grand Dhamma ceremonies like this, spending all that money, and then listening to the teachings, well, that is really about gaining wisdom, isn't it? Usually people just think, oh, I am earning merit, and then focus on that one little idea of earning merit, doing it out of habit. The truth is, out of all kinds of merit, the most important is wisdom. So, to gain wisdom, people hold Dhamma talks and listen to the teachings. When you gain a lot of wisdom, you should be able to put it to use in your everyday life. Wisdom is when you attend a Dhamma talk like this and gain some general knowledge. But whether that is truly wisdom, well, not quite yet. It is just that you've gained one piece of knowledge. That is all. That kind of wisdom only shows its true power when you actually put it into practice. A person who uses their eyes sees visual impressions and then gains the ability to calmly make decisions. In the same way, wisdom too. When you listen and take it in like this and then remember it, you've kept it in mind. And when you reflect and think deeply about life, you are able to make decisions. Once you truly understand something, that is when you can really call it wisdom. These days, if you look at it, kids start from childhood going to school, then college, then university, learning all along. When you use the knowledge you've learned in your work, that is when you truly see the full power of that knowledge. Back when you were learning, you just memorized it. Right now, too, at the Dhamma gathering, I am listening to the sermon. Once I've listened, I remember it. After remembering it, I need to reflect on it. You need to reflect on it, think it through, and see how it connects to your own life. Once you connect it to your own life, and then when you actually face a real situation, you make use of it, that is when the true work of wisdom really shows. If you just hold a Dhamma talk, listen to the teachings, and then that is it, just thinking, well, I earned merit, then you are not going to get all the benefits you should. The little bit of knowledge you get from a Dhamma talk will only have real value if you can put it to use in your life. So, as devoted followers of the Dhamma, we should take to heart what the Blessed One taught and the guidance he gave. Remember it well. And in our lives actually put it into practice, because that is what truly matters. For those journeying through life in this world, it is important to grow and improve in this life, and also prepare for a good life in the next. In this world, one lifetime is really just as short as a brief moment. As everyone knows, the time in human life when we're healthy, strong, and able to build our lives is only up until around the age of 40. By the time you're past 40 or 50, there is barely anything left to show for it. In life, once you reach your 50s, you are no longer in the shape to keep pushing hard. People gradually lose their strength, their skin quality, and their youthful vitality. So in human life, when you are young, from age 10 to 20, those years are mostly spent studying. From your 20s to 30s, 30s to 40s, and 40s to 50s, These are really the only decades when people can actively work to grow and improve their lives. If you can build your life within that incredibly short span of years, then do it. If you can't, you won't be able to fully experience the true meaning of life. And just like that, one life comes to an end. The next life may exist, or maybe it doesn't. Some religions say there is no such thing, while others say it does exist. So, can we decide for ourselves whether it exists or not? No, we can't. So, if we assume there is no afterlife, then there is no issue. But if there is an afterlife, then we need to make preparations in this life for what we should do. Just living well in this life isn't enough. Thinking about what to do for the next life means striving to live well in this life and preparing to live well in the next, working hard to grow and improve. If in the course of life you reach old age and maturity, then in the next life where this current life no longer exists, what help could your parents and relatives from this life give you? What could they possibly do for you? In today's terms, when someone's life comes to an end, the people left behind just send them off to the cemetery. That is all. After sending them off to the cemetery, what more can you do besides making a nice little tomb to hold their body? There is nothing more you can do. So then inside that little tomb, the body lying there slowly decays and eventually disappears. So when it comes to the next life, there is really not much the living can do to help from here. Not much at all. When a life changes, people just end up struggling to hold on to their own lives. From this life, there is really no way to help anymore. Yeah, some people, based on different beliefs and ideas, think that if someone passes on to the next life, they should be wealthy and happy there. So they spend huge amounts of money in this life, and in some traditions, they even burn money to send it along to the next life. If you burn it, it is just going to turn into ashes. Yeah, if you put in gold and money like that, it is just going to end up in the hands of dishonest people. Even if you give nice clothes, an unscrupulous person will just dig them up and take them away. Back in the old days in Myanmar, wealthy people used to have gold teeth put in. Even that gold tooth, they ended up taking it out, saying the person had finally passed away. There is nothing you can give in this life that will make everything perfect now and guarantee you'll enjoy the next life. So we have to choose a way of life that will make this life good and the next life good too. In the Blessed One's final counsel, he said that in this life we can truly gain peace and happiness, and in future lives as well, by relying on the life-assuring qualities we already possess. By putting in personal effort and working hard, these qualities will you can't even fully depend on your own family. Yeah, that is why we have to follow and practice the principles that lead to a good life now. And in the next, the Blessed Buddha said that the good qualities needed for both this life and the next, if you ask what they are, the first is faith, the belief in the teaching, an interest in doing good deeds, a clear and refreshed mind, and a strong determination to do good work, the ability to make firm decisions about doing good work. Having the knowledge, genuine interest, and determination to engage in noble work is an extremely important quality for actually carrying out good deeds. In this world, the karma you create, the work you do, concerns only you. If you do good, you'll get good results. If you do bad, you'll get bad results. That is what it means. Yeah. What you plant is a mango tree. So, If you trade this item and make this much profit, it means the knowledge you understand. Faith and belief means because I have faith, I don't do what is wrong, I don't do things that are sinful or bad. I speak politely and with discipline. Morality means if you ask what exactly we mean by sin, let's say, well, if you eat foods that promote good health, then of course you'll be healthy in the same way. And when it comes to the mind's nourishment, if you think these kinds of thoughts, do these kinds of work, and keep this kind of mindset, just as there are things that can cause wrongdoing to arise within ourselves, there are also things that bring about goodness and well-being. According to the Buddha's final teaching, those are called merit and demerit, wholesome and unwholesome. Kusala means a wholesome quality that can remove evil or harmful tendencies. Akusala means unwholesome states, things that don't bring any good or well-being, that carry blame and only lead to harmful results. When you've listened to and remembered how the Blessed One explained the difference between good and bad and their results, to prevent harmful, unwholesome qualities that bring bad consequences from arising within yourself, to bring about wholesome qualities that lead to prosperity and well-being in your own life, personally following and practicing them is even more important. So when faith, what we call sada, arises, you start paying attention to keeping good moral conduct. Virtue arises. Having virtue means being free from wrongdoing. Whatever you say, no wrongdoing. Everything you say, free from wrongdoing. Everything you do, free from wrongdoing. The Blessed One said that what is most important for being free from wrongdoing is having both a sense of shame and a sense of fear. In Burmese, shame and fear often get mixed together. People feel shy when they have to speak in front of others. The kind of shyness you feel about going out in public is different. Well, that is basically just being timid, isn't it? That is not the kind of shame or fear. I mean being ashamed of doing something wrong and being afraid of doing something wrong. It is feeling ashamed and disgusted by bad deeds, by actions that are wrong or sinful, and fearing the consequences that will come from them. This is called hiri otapa, the sense of shame and fear found in the character of virtuous and good people. When you have shame and fear about bad deeds, you hold yourself back and protect your dignity. Respecting yourself, guarding your dignity, living so you can proudly say, we never do anything wrong. That is the kind of shame and fear. Yes, it is that kind of fear that comes from respecting those you should respect. That shame and fear feeling tied to self-respect. And in this world where respecting others is valued, I've built into myself these two guiding principles that help me live with integrity. We need to build our moral conduct on a foundation of shame and fear. If it is not right, I don't do it. If it is not right, I don't say it, because it is the truth. People will respect you. You'll gain the full measure of what is called human dignity. That kind of moral conduct is something that should be present in your character, something truly valuable in human life. There is faith, there is virtue. So if those natural virtues have already become part of your character, you gain a certain level of ability to shape your life according to your own desires. You can shape your life any way you like. I am my own creator. I mean, me, I should be able to shape my own life. You have the right to shape your own life, and you should go ahead and do it. Shape your life according to your own wishes. If people in this world can't shape their own lives, then because they don't understand the nature of things, they'll end up with situations or outcomes they never wanted. The shape of your life is simply the result of what you do. If you want to shape your life beautifully, then you need to have the qualities and knowledge I just mentioned. If you have the qualities the Blessed Buddha taught, like faith and moral discipline, then you'll be able to shape and build your life the way you envision. May we live with dignity and grace in this life, and also attain a dignified and graceful life in the next. You have the right to do your own thing, just the way you want, without having to rely on anyone at all. The Buddha's ultimate teaching is really about being independent, relying on yourself and yourself alone. People can only rely on others to a certain extent. When you set out on the journey through the cycle of existence, there is really no one you can rely on. So you have to depend on yourself. Relying on yourself means depending on your own mental strength. That is what it is really about, At this point, when you are shaping your life, shaping it according to your own wishes, having wisdom is incredibly important. If you don't have wisdom and end up shaping things the wrong way, you could end up making your life miserable. For example, a lot of Myanmar people have probably heard of it. Yeah, they've likely come across it before. About Amadanti, the merchant's daughter, who appears in the collection called the 550 Jataka Tales. You've probably heard of it before. The name Amadanti comes from Amadanta, which means to drive someone crazy or make them lose their mind. I am not sure if Burmese people actually like that name, but there are quite a lot of people named Umai in Burma, Names with Amma in them are pretty popular. The full version of that Amma is called Amadanti. That Amadanti means making someone go crazy, and he is crazy, like totally out of his mind. That is how he ended up shaping his life all wrong. In one life, he was someone from a really poor family, had to work hard just to get by, from a family that struggled to make ends meet. When you are human, when there is a festival or parade, you want to look your best, of course. At festivals, at those big events, people here in Myanmar wear things like the wrap skirts, the longi, and all that. She really wanted to wear gorgeous outfits. She wanted to wear a pretty brightly colored dress. But when she wanted to dress up like that, she just couldn't afford it. When she couldn't afford it but still wanted to dress and eat like other people, here's what she did. She'd go over to other people's houses and work there, helping out their housemates and doing that sort of thing. I worked for exactly 3 years. If you ask why I was working, it was to get that one outfit, not for the money. Because I wanted to dress up nicely, really nicely. And I wanted that outfit. I went to other people's houses for 3 years and worked as a house helper. When you do something like that, when the 3 years were up, the homeowners turned out to be really kind-hearted. They gave her the outfit she wanted, and at the 3-year mark, they also gave her other clothes. And with that, she finally got the outfit she'd been wanting. Just when she was imagining herself wearing that beautiful outfit she'd finally gotten, guess who she happened to run into? It was actually a monk, a disciple of the Blessed Buddha Kassapa. While he was passing through the forest, some bandits by the roadside snatched away the monk's robes. They took off all the robes he was wearing. So that monk ended up completely naked, and what he did was gather whatever he could from the roadside trees' branches, leaves, and wrap them around himself until he was covered. Dressed only in leaves, covering himself with them, he made his way into towns and villages. When he showed up dressed in those leaves and bits of wood for protection, I thought to myself, after enduring the hardship of not having proper clothes, seeing him covered like this, wearing leaves and sticks, it sparked a feeling of compassion and faith in me. As soon as that feeling blossomed, she gladly offered the monk the set of clothes she had earned from working in other people's homes for 3 years. First, she offered one robe and kept one for herself. And when she gave that one robe, when that monk brushed away the leaves and put on the robe, his appearance became even more serene and dignified, truly admirable. And then when I went ahead and offered the other robe as well, seeing the monk's appearance in full, complete dignity filled my heart with deep joy. When he was deeply moved, he said, "My dear disciple, you even worked in other people's homes for 3 whole years just to get this piece of cloth. When I come across someone in real need like this and I get to donate the garment I've been so deeply wanting to give at a moment like this." Wearing this robe made the Venerable Master look truly dignified. So then, because of the merit from donating these clothes, if in your next life you happen to be reborn, may you become an incredibly beautiful, unbelievably gorgeous woman. If someone happens to see the disciple, apart from her closest relatives, no other man would be able to keep a calm, steady mind. He prayed that everyone who saw her would go crazy, totally head over heels obsessed. He prayed for a blessing that would make anyone who saw her lose their composure, unable to sit still, unable to stay calm, just completely captivated. Because she didn't just make a simple wish, but added that special request. When she later became the daughter of the wealthy merchant Jiritivitsa from Varanasi, she turned out to be stunningly beautiful. Everyone who saw her went absolutely crazy over her. That is why they called her Amadanti. I don't really know how beautiful the Amas of today are. That Amadanti name means someone so stunning they could drive another person absolutely crazy in love. So yeah, that was basically her shaping her life the way she wanted. Because of that choice, it ended up causing the other person pain. And eventually, things didn't go smoothly for her either. So even though you can shape your life and your desires, you need to do it in a way that is beneficial. Shaping them in a way that is not beneficial just isn't good. All right, so if I were to talk about something that happened afterward, in the city of Varanasi, there was this wealthy man, and this wealthy man, when he met the royal astrologer who was always studying the stars, he asked him a question. "Teacher, what kinds of political and national situations might we face in the future?" When I asked, well, the astrologer said, if it is about 3 years from now, if a drought and water shortage hit, this big country could end up in a state of severe famine and scarcity. You can't really say this couldn't happen, like everyone knows Ethiopia and Africa. Back in the day, they went through severe droughts, water shortages, food scarcity, and even got hit by famine. People still haven't forgotten what happened in Ethiopia. Yeah, when it gets so dry that you can't even plant trees or crops and food and water become scarce. Well, in about 3 years, we might be facing that kind of situation. When he said that, the rich man, what did he do? He took all the money, all the gold, all the silver he had in his house and bought as much rice as he could get his hands on. And then he went and built huge rice warehouses, a lot of them around 2,500 big rice warehouses. He bought the rice in advance, stockpiled it, stored it away, and kept it, because they were afraid of going hungry. Those big piles of rice stored away like that. Year after year, using methods to keep the rice from spoiling, they'd fill those huge warehouses completely full of rice. In the end, they'd stored up so much that even the walls of the house were lined with rice. They mixed the rice together with husks and packed it right up against the house walls until it was completely full. They stored every single pot, cup, and plate with rice so that when rice became scarce, they'd still have something to eat. And when they had it all set aside like that, just as they'd planned ahead, it turned out exactly the way the old astrologer had said. When the drought started, farming stopped succeeding. Little by little, food and provisions began to grow scarce. People began to suffer from a severe famine where they couldn't get enough rice to eat. As time went on, the rich man just kept taking and taking from his warehouses, eating away, until he fell behind and ran out. As things slowly started running out, the people working in his household, all right, You all go find a place that suits you. I can't feed you anymore. Saying that all the food and drink were gone. Well, if there ever comes a time when there is plenty again and life is comfortable, then whenever you want to come back to me, just come back. If you don't want to come back ever again, then just go for good. So they sent all the household workers away to far-off places. Only the family was left, the master, the mistress, their son, their daughter-in-law, and one servant. Out of everyone working at the house, only one loyal worker remained among those 5. With just 5 of them left, it eventually got so bad they could barely manage even one proper meal. All the rice they had was gone, and like that, the whole household, no, the whole family, even the whole town was starving. When the rich man finally managed to bring in a huge load of rice, he spoke to the head steward. He asked, "Do we still have any rice left to cook?" The head steward replied that there was still about 1 basket of rice left, hidden away somewhere, wrapped up with earth. When they said, "Go ahead and cook that little bit," the master asked, "If it is for 5 people, that rice would only be enough for 1 meal, right?" They said, "If we make rice porridge, we could stretch it to 2 meals. And the rich man replied, "No, my friend, don't make rice porridge. Let them have 1 full meal if they want. This is the last of the rice for them." So on that last day, we divided up the little bit of rice we had left and cooked it enough for 5 people, about 5 portions. Just as we were about to eat the 5 portions, it turned out to be a religious observance day. And for Paxi, the Blessed Buddha had also gone exactly 7 days without accepting alms. Since they couldn't have the regular alms meal, they looked around the monastery to see who should be honored instead. They went to meet that wealthy family. We needed to see whether that wealthy family truly had the faith and ability to give. Look, what really matters in people's hearts is whether they have an interest in faith. That is important, When I looked to see if they had that kind of faith, the eagerness to give, the interest, the belief, the determination, I realized, yes, they did. When he realized that, the Buddha praised Paxi in recognition. So the wealthy man sat down at the little dining table ready to eat. And just then the Buddha suddenly appeared before him. If you look into his mind, what would a person with true faith be thinking? Oh, it is because we didn't do acts of charity or good deeds in our lives that we're now facing this hunger and hardship. If I eat this rice, my supply will only last 7 days, which isn't long at all. In this lifetime, only a very short moment will bring me any real benefit. So in this life, I'll leave it at that. I won't eat it. Paxi decided he would offer it to the Blessed Buddha instead. When the moment came when he was unbearably hungry and ready to eat, Paxika Buddha took the rice he was about to eat and poured it into the Buddha's alms bowl. When about half of it was gone, the Buddha stopped Paxika Buddha. Why? Well, because he only offered half, which basically meant the rest was for the rich man to eat. So only half of the offering was accepted, your reverence, because it was like taking out the portion meant for 1 person from what was meant for 5. Now, they said it wouldn't be right to split this 1 person's share any further. So everyone had about 1 person's share of rice, 5 portions in total. And they said, "Venerable sir, please accept this." He didn't eat it, and instead, from his own plate, he donated all of his share. When that offering was made, the wealthy master also felt a surge of faith and devotion. And so he too offered his share into the Buddha's alms bowl. Both the merchant's son and the merchant's niece also made offerings. Then one of the workers at their house also, just like that, was suddenly filled with faith and thought, "Since I am the one eating this, there is no benefit for me. Let me gain merit from giving instead." And so it was meant for 5 people, but they split 1 person's portion into 5 and offered that as alms. Everyone really bravely risked their lives to make the offering because of the power of their faith when they made offerings like that. The Venerable Paxika Buddha made it so they could actually see with their own eyes where he went, so that their faith and devotion would grow. And it was created through divine power. When the Paxika Buddha ascended into the sky, he shared with the other Paxika Buddhas and even created scenes and images showing the offering of alms. so that they could witness it. Everyone in their hearts felt they had offered to the Pasika Buddhas with joyful faith. No matter how much rice they ate, joy and delight completely took over. But eventually they grew tired and worn out and ended up falling asleep. They fell asleep from the exhaustion of hunger and weakness. When they woke up, the master was hungry, no starving, and he asked the monk, "So, what is still left?" The rice pot we just cooked in has already been washed and turned upside down. The boss asked, in that rice pot you just cooked with, are there still any bits of rice stuck inside? If there are any clumps stuck to the pot, please take care of them. The boss didn't really want to say there wasn't any. When he went to check the pot, he had washed and turned upside down himself. When they went to check the wash pot, they said the rice pot was completely full of rice. Seeing it full made me feel so deeply happy and content inside. So it means this is the kind of merit that actually brings real benefits in everyday life. Because their goodwill and mental strength were so great, this merit brought them blessings. After cooking, the pot that had already been washed was suddenly full of rice again. Seeing it replenished again, they were overjoyed and went to inform the wealthy man. They scooped rice from that pot and served it. He also fed the remaining people. It was something that happened just that once. No matter how many people they served, the rice in that little pot never ran out. Because it was something they had received through the power of their faith, through the merit they had earned. It never ran out, no matter how much they used it. It reached the point where that rice could be shared with everyone in the entire town, the whole village, and the whole region. And there was still enough for everyone to eat. You know, when they were offering that rice, the wealthy man made a wish to the blessed Buddha. Lord, it is because your disciples didn't practice enough generosity that we've ended up starving like this. May we never have to experience this kind of hunger and hardship ever again. May you never have to face this kind of hunger and hardship. Without having to work the fields with my own hands or plant anything, I simply looked up at the rain cloud-filled sky, and the heavens poured down rice seeds enough to fill the 250 granaries I had built. May you be someone with the ability to easily fill them with those grains of rice. He prayed that he would never have to face a shortage of rice paddy or water for the crops. Later, when a wealthy master donated his rice, he also made a wish. What kind of wish was that again? Something like, may we never have to face any kind of hunger or hardship like that. Even though he served everyone from the little pot of rice he had cooked himself, he prayed that this pot would never run empty. Later, another person in charge held a stack of 1,000 kyat bills. And when it came time to pay the workers' wages, no matter how much needed to be paid, he prayed that stack would never run out. They expressed their wish that they would never have to face such hunger and hardship and prayed for it. They offered their prayers. The rich man's daughter-in-law also prayed in the same way, asking that whenever she gave wages or rice to the workers and farmers, or handed out seeds and supplies, the basket she took them from would never run empty. Someone who worked at home also made a wish. When he plows a field, he wishes that with just a single furrow, 3 rows would appear on that side, 3 rows on this side, and 1 row in the middle, so that with just one pass of the plow, the field would have 7 rows in total. He also made his wish just as he desired. In the end, the one wish they all shared was, well, what it turned out to be was, the rich man said, may I always live with this wife, this son, this daughter-in-law, and this servant. May we meet again in every life to come. Everyone prayed for the same thing. The servant didn't ask for anything grand or complete. He just asked for a servant's blessing. People who shape their lives according to their own wishes are like this. Because they made that kind of wish during the time of the Buddha, they ended up receiving the same benefit and came together as one family. It is recorded in the Dhammapada commentary that their wishes were all fulfilled exactly as they had asked. They were actually Visakha's parents and grandparents, you know. In a life like that, being able to shape things according to our wishes is possible because of the power of faith. In the area of merit that comes from faith, your own personal quality, you must have genuine interest and the strength of that faith And you must also possess moral discipline, the virtue of right conduct. If these natural virtues, faith and morality, are complete in your heart and mind, you can enjoy well-being and happiness in this life, and also gain well-being and happiness in future lives. As we journey through life, being able to walk the path with ease, success, and growth comes from following and practicing the final instructions of the Blessed Buddha. Anyone who does so can truly flourish. So, dear Dhamma-loving friends, if you take to heart this essential teaching, that life can be shaped according to your own aspirations, then in this very life you have the opportunity to design your own life's picture, to make it good and fulfilling, and to achieve personal success and growth. Remember that to do this, you must cultivate the qualities that should be present in your character: faith, morality, knowledge, generosity, and wisdom. If you develop these qualities, you can shape your life as you wish, in accordance with the Blessed Buddha's final instructions. May you all follow and practice them faithfully. Well done, well done, well done. Let us send loving kindness. May many beings be free from harm, free from harm. And may they be well, may they be well. May many beings be free from harm, and live in peace, live in peace. May the cool waters of loving kindness, be poured and sprinkled, so that all may be at peace, may be at peace. May the waters of loving kindness, be poured and sprinkled, so that all may be at peace, Long life and good health, peace of mind, May all your wishes come true. Long life and good health, peace of mind. May all your wishes come true. May the lotus flowers of happiness bloom, united with the full moon of loving kindness. May the minds of all beings be refreshed, and may the fragrances of joy spread everywhere. United with the full moon of loving kindness, merging with the pure white radiance of compassion, intertwined with the silver moonlight, meeting and blending together for all beings in the vast and complete expanse of existence, within the great lake of the heart, pure, serene, cool, and crystal clear. May the lotus flowers of happiness flourish, blossoming in peace and delight. May they bloom joyfully, with hearts brimming with gladness, opening in beauty, and may the fragrances of joy, carried gently by the breeze, spread harmoniously. May they remain steadfast, strong, and unwavering. Well done, well done, well done.